Welcome back, everyone. No Take 3 this week. We take a little time off to talk football, college athletics. Sure, why not? Because at The Ohio State University, it's never summer vacation. Dave Briggs is the Buckeye beat writer for the Toledo Blade, and Dave joins us this morning. Good to see you.
Thanks. Great to be on, Lee.
Yeah, we're recording a little bit late in the week here, so things are a little bit fluid. We're watching one thing going on over in Cleveland that you have a vested interest in, being from Northeast Ohio, right? So we're it'll be interesting how this plays out as this airs on Sunday morning, Dave Briggs.
Absolutely. I know everyone from Cleveland is certainly pulling for it.
Yeah. So, and by this time, maybe it has happened. We'll see. But I wanted to bring you in to talk about the story that you wrote a couple of weeks back involving attendance shifting. Not necessarily a shift, but a decline up north, just north of the border at the University of Michigan.
Right.
And the popularity of Ohio State football continues to grow, really off the charts. And how that and what that means going forward as we get ready for the college football season, which is just around the corner.
Right. No, absolutely. When you think of Michigan, you think of the biggest house in the country. It's the most populous stadium in American sports. They've led the nation in college football attendance for 39 of the past 40 years. But this year, it's gonna flip, and it looks like it could be adding insult to injury for Michigan. It could be because of its biggest rival, Ohio State. Ohio State is, they're primed for record sales. They usually average about 104, 105,000, but they've added 2,500 seats this year, so you're probably going to have an average about 107, 108. And then Michigan, on the other hand, which led the country, as we said last year, averages about 110. And their students are there's been a big student exodus for season ticket sales. They've dropped from 21,000 a couple of years ago to 13,000 this year.
And a precipitous drop.
And season ticket non-student renewals are down from their usual 96 to 97% renewal rate. And just the reason for the drop, especially for the students, is it's a very bad home schedule, probably the least compelling in the modern era.
Juggernauts like Appalachian State, Miami of Ohio, no disrespect to the MAC here, but who else coming in? I mean, none of the big rivals are coming in this year,
I think you're right. Notre Dame, Michigan State, and Ohio State are all on the road, so that's the perft storm.
Penn State's the only real so-called marquee game, right?
Penn State's the only so-called marquee game, and none of those Division I teams, which excludes Appalachian State, even had a winning conference record last year. And Penn State, not only that, it falls on fall break for the students, so it's just the perfect storm. And on top of that, they're charging $295 for 7 games to the students. That would be reasonable for fans, because obviously those normal fans, because those prices are much bigger. But for the students, that's the second highest price in the country and leads the Big Ten. So Ohio State has a very good home schedule, and it costs a little less. So it doesn't quite add up, and I think they're going to have to look at some things to kind of get their fans back.
Well, Dave Brandon, the athletic director, he's known as this marketing genius, right? He came from Domino's, played football at Michigan, but a while back in your story, you pointed out that he said, we're it's a lot easier for the college student to go sit at the frat with the big 60-inch screen. You've got the beer over here.
Right.
Boy, you've got to do some selling here. But doesn't it begin on the field?
Absolutely.
Dave Briggs, because the product has been not up to what Michigan fans would like to see.
Absolutely. No, obviously they're competing more with 60-inch HD TVs that did not exist 15, 20 years ago. Very affordable. Even students have them in their place. So they'll be gathering at friends' houses, and obviously it's free, and you can drink throughout the game.
Right.
And
beer's cheaper.
But yeah, the biggest thing is just win, baby. And I mean, at Ohio State, I think people will pay anything. All the season tickets are renewed. The price is the same, if not more, at Ohio State. And if Michigan comes back and has a great season, I expect all the students will be back next year, and season tickets will be back. And I think the most staggering thing about Michigan's fall is that you could go on the Penn State game, and they were advertising group rates for 100 seats or more, and any game you could go and just order 99 seats together at face value. And if you look at the secondary market, all the games have seats available for face value, or for under face value. So you can't blame the students. I mean, one of the student body president told me, why would students go? You can get them for 10 or 20 bucks on the secondary market.
Right.
So it's a tough situation for Michigan, but you're right. It'll all be solved with a good season.
Yeah, Brady Hoke, are you listening? Win on the field. Well, he knows he has to win.
Absolutely. Could be the final year for him.
He's on notice. But at Ohio State, this is a phenomenon. It's not just a football game. I mean, it's an event, and could be the most popular place in America to go watch a college football game.
Sure, and of course it's a phenomenon at Michigan too. I mean the band, and that's also a huge deal there. But you're right. At Ohio State, you know, people come early for the band, and there is an experience to being at Michigan or Ohio Stadium, to be in that communal. I don't know, just being 108,000, feeling the stadium shake. You can see why fans would pay. You know, the cheapest seat in Ohio Stadium is $79, and I think it's going to be $150 for this year's Michigan game, and that's only for the few thousand that fans can buy. For most fans, they have to donate thousands of dollars just to have the right to buy tickets. So it's
the licensing fee, the seat licensing fee?
Seat license and just donations. So it's, but you're right. I mean, there's nothing like being there, and that's what they're increasingly trying to sell in this modern era.
And what we see going forward, maybe the pendulum will swing, but looking at it this year, and most Michigan fans, I think, would say, and maybe I come from a Michigan perspective here, people know that, you know, don't throw things at the television, but the cupboard is, while it may not be bare, not a lot of optimism going forward. Would you agree with that?
Yeah,
experts?
I would say I was actually just sitting at a Tigers game the other day, and just the fans behind us were all wearing Michigan gear, and they were just, to say the least, they had little confidence in Brady Hoke. And I think there's definitely an uneasy feeling among Michigan fans, just from what I've gathered.
Uneasy, I think that's a good way to put it.
I still think a lot of people have confidence they can have a bounce back year, maybe 9, even 10 wins. It's not an overly difficult schedule, and if you look at Brady Hoke's recruiting classes, I mean, he was recruiting top 5, top 10 classes, and these are the years where they should be going into their prime years, and these are the years where they should be, where you figured a couple of years ago they would be contending for a national title, and certainly up there with Ohio State. It just hasn't happened, so it's just an uneasy feeling, I would say, and obviously no one's feeling the heat more than Brady Hoke.
How realistic is it that for Ohio State fans that Ohio State can challenge for a national championship? Hey, they lost to Michigan State's the Big Ten champion.
Sure.
So, and Spartan fans will say, hey, enough about the Big Two here, right? They're part of the block here too. But how realistic is that goal?
Oh, I think it's very realistic to contend and get there. It's not a very it's an okay non-conference schedule. They've got Virginia Tech and Cincinnati and at Navy. All those games are, none of them are gimmies, but games they should be able to get past. It's not the Virginia Tech of old, and Ohio State has enough.
You got to win at
firepower.
Navy. I'm sorry, you have to win at
Navy, and it's a fairly easy Big Ten schedule as usual until everything picks back up, except for the Big Ten game of the season at Michigan State on November 8th, and they just announced a few minutes ago that game will be in primetime in East Lansing, so that'll be a very difficult atmosphere. I know the Vegas odds makers are giving Ohio State a slight early edge. They think they have more talent than Michigan State, they're giving Michigan State the slight early edge.
Oh, really?
Yes, they're
on the road.
giving Michigan State the 1-point edge in the early sports lines, which is crazy. They're releasing them already, but I think Ohio State's the more talented team, but Michigan with the home field advantage will offset that. I actually talked to one of the bookmakers, so it's if they can get past that, they should be in the clear to play Nebraska or Iowa or Wisconsin in the other division for the conference championship.
A lot of inside baseball here, Dave, or inside football. So I want to ask you just a big picture about covering Ohio State. This I mentioned phenomenon that is Ohio State football. I mean, take us inside real quickly. We don't have a ton of time, but Urban Meyer and that mystique and the whole thing.
Sure. No, I mean, I think it's as big as any beat in the country, just in terms of, I mean, you look at Alabama or Tennessee or any NFL beat. I can't imagine there's more people cover. I don't know. It's just it can be a crazy scene. I go to a weekly press conference with Urban Meyer. There's 50 to 60 reporters there. TV cameras from all over the state. It's certainly just a statewide institution and much bigger than any one pro team, because obviously everyone from all corners of the state embraces that, and it's
a pretty good gig to have,
phenomenon.
For a young guy covering the Buckeyes.
Sure. Can't complain.
Blade. All right, thanks very much for coming in, Dave, talking a little college football with us, attendance and on the field and what have you. So thanks very much.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you down the road. David Briggs, the Buckeye beat writer for the Toledo Blade. And that will do it for this edition of Conklin Company. We'll see all this coming week on 13 ABC Action News and next week on Conklin Company, 11 a.m. Sunday morning. Have a great rest of the day, everyone.